we're just moving. Like, we're just adding stuff to the game. You're going by
figure it out as we go.
Yeah, I had a hilarious exchange in the Discord where somebody was like, I can't imagine like the math that must go behind trying to balance this game. It's like, math?
It's all vibes,
You can't
baby.
balance it with math.
Yeah, it's like, play the game, be like, was that fun? Which part of that sucked? Oh, this part sucked? All right, let's beef that one up.
Well, I
Let's
mean,
give
they
it like
were correct in that they can't imagine the math, and neither can we.
Neither
It's
can
not
we. I don't know how,
imaginable.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what the
Can't
hell
be
that
done.
would look like.
Butterscotch shenanigans.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 554 of Coffee with Butterscotch, the weekly podcast for indie game developers. I'm Seth and I'm the games programmer.
I'm Matt, the miscellaneous programmer.
I'm Sam and I'm the artiste.
And we are Butterscotch Shenanigans. Today is January 2, 2026. We don't have a name for this year yet, but we'll get to that later. Because today we're going to talk first about the demo of How Many Dudes. It is going. It is popping off.
It's cruising.
And we're going to talk about that. So I think it was either the most recent episode, I think. It was before the winter break, so we kind of recorded it in advance. And we released the demo of How Many Dudes after we recorded that. So we kind of had some guesses about what might happen. And our goal with the demo was to use the demo to try to hit 20,000 wish lists for How Many Dudes by year end. And we kind of expected it to be a slow burn because it's like kind of a dumb game. And, like reaching out to people, like trying to get them, like we don't have a fancy cinematic trailer. We don't have any of that crap, right? And so reaching out to streamers or influencers or whatever, being like, hey, check out this game about like dudes fighting random shit.
It's also for a demo, right?
And it's a demo, yeah. People kind of ignore demos. Like if you look at like the top concurrent players on demos versus the top concurrent players on actual games, it's like 1,000x difference, right? So the demo scene on Steam is already like it's a weird place. And we don't spend much time there, but now we live there, I guess. So
in that 20K, we were like, we think that's possible, but at least I personally thought that was like really optimistic.
That was a bit of a stretch, yeah. But as of today, we are over 50,000 wish lists.
Yep.
So
let's talk about that.
Let's talk about how we got there, because that's a lot. That's a lot more than we thought.
So for starters, we were planning on releasing the demo on December 17th, which was Wednesday. Our goal was to launch it before the Steam winter sale started, and then kind of like fix some stuff up, and then use the winter break downtime where no new games are coming out, combined with the high Steam traffic of the winter sale, if people are like swarming Steam looking for stuff to play, looking for a deal, and combining those things together to say, well, we got a great deal because we got a free thing. Well, that's the best price you could ask for. And then kind of use that kind of like lack of anything else going on combined with high player activity to try to get some organic growth of the demo during that couple week window.
Yeah. So the store is also very busy during that time because of the sale. So the visibility problem was a thing that we were worried about, but we already didn't expect that a demo would be actually like showcased by Steam itself.
Yeah, because they don't make any money off of that, and there's no release game, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so we're still expecting, like, it's still mostly, it's the job of external parties, basically, to bring visibility onto the game.
Yeah, so we released the demo one day early just because we kind of have this internal slogan right now, which is, fuck it, we ball. We're like, if things are lined up and everything's ready to go, just fuck it. Just send it. We didn't, and because it's a demo, then nobody gives a shit about demos. We didn't have like a press embargo. We didn't have any like Steam keys sent out, like waiting for coverage.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like 3 p.m. on Tuesday. We were like, well, I mean, it's all done.
It's fine. Like it's good. Let's just
press the buttons.
We roped in a handful of community members on the day before just to do like a little bit of testing, and we fixed up a few things the next day, and then we just sent it. And so at that point in time, we had about 7,500 wish lists, which if anybody kind of like follows game marketing stuff, you're like, it's not.
It's not great.
Not much.
Yeah, it's not too good. But we kept saying like this game is so fun for us to play internally. If we just get it into people's hands, they'll see. Like they'll see how good it is, and then it'll spread. And we know that it's going to be like an uphill battle to accumulate wish lists on a game like this until people can actually get their hands on it, right?
Yeah.
So,
and importantly, we had been, for those who've been listening to past episodes, we've been producing those shorts, which have proven to be very effective for actually driving wishlist traffic. More effective than basically more effective than other games promotion we've done in the past for our own games, right? Typically, we put out something like a new piece of media, a new trailer, whatever else, and not really see much of an uptick in wishlist referrals. So we knew that the game's content itself is shaped effectively to be good for conversion on something like YouTube, right? And there was just a question of like, will anybody else make some stuff about it?
But importantly, it was like our YouTube shorts did convert, but not anywhere close to a rate that would get us where we needed to go, right? Because if we make a YouTube short and we get 500 wish lists, that's great. But if we're aiming for 50,000 wish lists by launch, which was our target, then like we got to make like 100 shorts, right?
And that's a side thing that we're doing while we're developing the game. So it's like we don't have a person who's just doing that.
Yeah,
which
means hundreds. Actually, I guess 500 hours worth of time that could have gone into actually working on the game is going into YouTube shorts. And we're like, okay, yeah, we can't do that. So the demo was kind of the Hail Mary of like, how do we get this game out there in the world so that way people who play it will be able to spread the word about it and make videos about it and talk about it and all that. And then we can put our time more into the development.
Yeah. So we did load up 2 shorts for the actual demo's release. So on the 17th then, Wednesday morning, then we had 2 things happen. One is we're working with Recoup, who's our kind of like a marketing partner for the game. They handle a bunch of the commercial side of things. And part of their job for us is to do all the influencer outreach. So we don't have to then collate a giant list of people and send emails and stuff like that. So they sent out an email blast to like 2,500 people, I think. That day, that morning, and we published our first of 2 shorts. The next one went out the next day. They're very goofy and silly things about like wizards turning into volcanoes and Frankendudes becoming like Godzilla size. And so both those shorts did really well, really good engagement numbers. And within a couple of days had amassed like 400,000 views just between the 2 of them. And on top of that, had boosted views across the whole YouTube channel, all the other shorts, to the tune of basically around like 1.1 million views, kind of in sum, right? So not just on themselves, but just across all the stuff. So excellent.
Yeah, that's
exactly
a surprising thing that I didn't really expect, but we're seeing it more and more. Is like if we have a bunch of content about the same thing on our channel, and we release a new video, sometimes that new video doesn't actually do that well, but just the fact that there's like more videos about that thing going up on YouTube or something, it elevates all the rest of the videos by like a much bigger margin than
because those 2 new videos for themselves still did really well, but they didn't do as well as a few of our older videos did. Yeah. But the net impact on total views across the channel for How Many Dudes Stuff was bigger than any past videos.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of like where we were at the start, is like, all right, we're going to release these YouTube shorts to kind of kickstart the flywheel, release the demo. So the first day, the demo peaked at 139 concurrent players. And we were like, that's great, right? Because
pretty good for a demo. Yeah.
Yeah. And like our experience with launching stuff in the past was always like big spike at the beginning, because you've kind of like accumulated all of your press coverage and you've got like players waiting to get
or embargoes, embargoes time it,
Yeah, and we were like, we know that nobody gives a shit about How Many Dudes. Like we know that because again, like we just said, it's going to be hard to convince people from us. And so we knew there was going to be nobody waiting for it. There wasn't going to be like this really big spike at the beginning. We're kind of hoping for more of and just like an organic kind of slow burn growth as word of mouth spreads. And so we're like, okay, 139 concurrent players.
Great.
Pretty good first day. However, we did have this kind of like heart drop moment where a couple hours after we launched the demo, we're like, oh yeah, it's like 100 players, like 110. It's like, okay, yeah, it's like, it's starting to go. And then suddenly it just plummeted to 40. And then it just stayed there for a while. And we're like,
oh man, dude, is it just like not I guess
is
it's not working.
this, yeah, like, are we just delusional about the game being like really sticky and good? Like, people picked it up and they're like, yeah, no, and then they just all left. No, there's just a Steam DB outage, I guess,
Or probably a Steam outage.
or a Steam API outage or something,
Yeah,
and
probably.
so like it was just misreporting the numbers for like an hour, and then
Steam
suddenly-
has a weirdly high frequency of outages, given what they are.
yeah, but probably weirdly low given their 25-year-old
Oh
tech
yeah,
stack.
yeah, very challenging to
yeah.
manage that. Yeah, absolutely.
Weirdly high, but also weirdly low. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So then from there, it was just kind of like a few days of slow growth, right? So it kept hitting new peaks each day, and each peak. When I say slow, I mean in relative numbers, it was fast. It was like a 50% growth day after day.
Right. But
But
absolute,
absolute
terms,
numbers
it's
was still
Yeah, it's going
Well,
from like 100 players to like 150 and then like
Mhm.
190, or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay,
like respectable for a random demo, right? That
random
on a
Wednesday.
random
that
day
nobody knew
that
about,
nobody knows
nobody
about.
asked for.
Like not impressive. We're not taking that to the bank, but also we're like, okay, yeah, like it's
Mhm.
and like if you can see growth on any kind of a release, that to me that's the hardest thing to accomplish.
Oh yeah.
Like
Day by day growth.
something that day by day goes up instead of day by day goes down, right?
Yes.
And
And on top of that, we talked about when we were making the shorts and all this other stuff that part of the trick with the challenge of this creative work is being able to know what metrics to pay attention to, right? Which ones to really care about. And a lot of the stuff involving that like concurrent player count is really, again, it's out of your hands. You can't really do a good job of that because it's not on you to do. That's up to like thousands of people to be doing, right? But you can do a good job making the game, which you could tell then when we looked at the median playtime after the first couple of days on the demo, we were already up over 1 hour of median playtime. So for those who aren't familiar, the relative benchmark for like what makes a game, what separates like games that do really well when they launch versus games that do like all right or bad is basically like around an hour of demo playtime if you have a demo out. At least an hour.
I think 50 minutes is the
something like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
The benchmark. And that the reality, I guess, that's a good point. The reality is the difference between 50 minutes and 60 minutes is fucking huge on a demo, right? And as you go up higher into like the hour and a half range, 2 hour range, whatever else, of course, the rarity of that goes higher and higher.
Yeah, and that's true, but it's also true that interpreting your median during a game, like when a game is day by day getting more players, is challenging because it's going to be weighted towards your increasing number of fresh players who have not had the time to put in the time.
Right. If you've owned the game for an hour, you cannot have
How much
played
time
it
could you put in
for more than an hour, right?
Yeah.
And so
and so the median, so the because what we see like with our games once they're deep in the tail is that the median keeps creeping up, right? Because now
as new
the
players
number
stop
of
coming
old
in.
players overwhelms the number of new players, and then old players continue playing, right?
Mhm.
And so new players come in with their measly 5 minutes of playtime, but over
Right.
time they keep adding in, right? And with the demo, because it keeps on adding day by day, then we don't get to catch up and figure out what is what's the real median time.
Well, I will say it's up, I think it's like an hour and a half now.
So an
Yeah,
hour
well,
and a
and,
half
that, and that's
Despite
like, and that's the thing is that because anytime you're interpreting these things, you have to say like, okay,
What's
what
the rate
is
of new
this
people
biased
flowing in?
towards?
Yeah.
Yeah. And in this case, we know that this is biased towards low numbers
Mhm.
because we should keep on having new people coming in. And despite that, it's still up over the benchmark that we wanted
way
to
up over it, which we're very,
Yeah.
very happy with.
Yeah,
But yeah, so we're looking at that and we're like, okay, I mean, seems good. Maybe we'll peak out around like 200 or so. The median
Okay.
playtime's good.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So
Whatever.
yeah, so then it kept creeping up, and a lot of smaller YouTube channels and stuff started making videos, and even some like pretty like decent sized ones as well, and that we wouldn't see like dramatic effects from those, but there were like little noticeable upticks.
You could sort of like,
every
you
now
could
and
sort of
then,
sense it in the graph, right? Like it would be happening alongside the general like slow rise of the thing. And there's definitely an ejection on like a hour by hour basis of stuff. And what we saw most importantly was that when we were looking at people's content they were making, we always go and look at the channel. So how does our video about how many dudes on their channel perform relative to their other content? And so what we're really excited to see is that, I think one of the first ones who put out a video is Sifty. It's SIFD. Put out a video actually, like I think the day before the demo, something like that.
it was before.
Yeah, because I think he'd gotten a key back in like a month prior or something for like the Thanksgiving one we tried when no one picked it up. So it was also fun. Nobody picked it up at Thanksgiving.
We did a big influencer push, and nobody.
Or I guess, Walla Seta, who's the only one who picked it back up. He'd already played it once, right?
Yeah.
So, so we got this video from Sifty like the day before the demo, and it was instantly outperforming all of his other videos on his channel. So again, that's really good. That's really good for us to see,
or something like that.
Yeah, that's really good for us to see, because then that means that that means that the game is creating value for the streamers or for the influencers. We're no longer in a position where it's like begging someone to like essentially throw it up on their channel and get like less than they normally do for views. We're saying like, this is good for you.
Yeah, which was like, that was the level hit curse, right? It's like we targeted Mario Maker players, but then Mario Maker streamers and YouTubers found that if they played anything other than Mario Maker, their audience just never showed up, right? And so if they played Levelhead, they would lose viewers.
So which means they lose money, right? Which is bad.
Yeah,
versus being able to say like, if you cover this, you might actually make more money than you normally do, right? As a YouTuber or a streamer, which is a very different ballgame now. So we're like, okay, maybe that's a promising sign. Again, we can't count on anything, but a very promising sign. So we'll kind of see what happens.
So our concurrent players kind of trended upward, and then they kind of like they hit the mid 400s around December 19th. So about 3 days after the demo launched, and then it just kind of hovered there for about 6 days. So it's just kind of, we had new players coming in, people checking it out, the new videos kind of creeping in, but it was nothing kind of major was happening. It was just kind of like hanging out there. And honestly, like we were just pumped that it wasn't going down noticeably, right? Because again, our experience is like big spike and then big fall off.
I think, speaking my personal thing is like when we crossed I remember we crossed 400. I was like, this is great. Like
this is crazy.
This is crazy to me. Like that's a lot of people. That's a really good mark in the fact that it kind of is stable around there. Like when we're looking at the dips and the troughs and stuff, it's like people are really sticking around to play it and they're talking to friends about it and clearly bringing other people in. So it just seemed great. We're like, excellent.
Yeah. So we're like, all right, if we manage to hang out here even for like another 2 weeks, then that's so good, right? But then something happened. We hit kind of an inflection point where probably because so many other YouTubers and streamers and stuff were covering how many dudes over the past week, and some of the larger channels started to take notice. And the first of which was the channel Dangerously Funny. So they posted a video. It was titled something like 100 men versus a gorilla, but it's a game, or something. And that video is just kind of like a playthrough. It's very funny, very well put together.
Really
and it hit like 600,000 views in the first day compared to the rest of their videos, which were kind of chilling at like 200 or something. Is that right? It was like in the first day, or
the first 2 days. The first day it hit like 150,000 views. Most of the videos on his channel get around 150,000 views. Where at the top ones performing at like 500,000, and then like the mega ones performing at like around 1 million.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. We saw that, we were like, oh, and then within I think it was 3 or 4 days, it was up over 650,000, and now it's like
currently at
close.
960.
It's like 960,000 views.
So again, it's the same effect we saw everywhere else, which is like the game is just it's such a vibe. Like it's just so dumb and goofy, but also has so many like decisions and so much depth, but in a way that's easy to kind of understand, even just as a viewer who hasn't played the game. Then I think the reason that these videos are doing well is because like everybody who watches How Many Dudes has an opinion about what the player should have done, and like, so the people really engage with the comments, basically like arguing with each other and with the player, the creator about.
It's actually as a viewer, it's like a sports game, right? In the sense that like with a sports game, it's like you have your team, you got your opinions about who's good and who's bad, and then you watch it unfold. And you don't get to have any say about how it unfolds, right? But you just watch stuff.
But the rules of the game are pretty knowable,
Yeah, and everybody's acting autonomously, and you're basically like placing bets in effect on like what do you?
Well, you can always be an arbitrary quarterback. You can be like, oh, you totally should have thrown it to the other guy because you've seen the result fucking now, right? And so it's or the fact that these streamers are doing this in like a time compressed fashion, and so they'll just be reading like a tooltip or something, and they might just read it like slightly wrong, and then so ignore like a particular power or whatever
Or
else.
they make a wrong assumption about something.
It's like the chat's just like, "Oh, you idiot," like, and then they tell them all sorts of stuff, and everybody's arguing. So like, it prompts a lot of engagement in the comments, which is definitely one of those pieces. And so that video that Dangerously Funny posted ended up in like the YouTube gaming trending list. I think by the time we saw it, it was like number 17 or something in there. Which I mean, we've never had anything show up in that. Like if you hit the gaming tab, how many dudes was in there? Which is crazy.
So that video hit, and then we essentially just kind of like rocketed past our previous peak of the mid 400s, and we got like up to 1,000 concurrent players. So we're
crazy.
So we're like, okay, that's awesome. But also like at every step of the way, we're just like,
that's probably it.
That's probably it. That's gonna be we'll hit that, and then it'll just kind of fizzle out. Like that's what always happens.
Yeah, and the whole time we were curious, we're like, what's the baseline going to be once this stops? Because we were just kind of projecting out like, what do we think is a good baseline to settle back into once, and then we still don't know. We still don't know.
Things keep happening.
So then around this time, so we were checking SteamDB, which has like a trending game section, and it also has like you can go to the charts and you can pull up demos, and you can sort demos by concurrent players. So like kind of in the earlier few days of the demo release, like when we were kind of in the 400s, we were kind of hovering in the top 20 most played demos on Steam. After the Dangerously Funny video, then we jumped into the top 5. So we were kind of hanging out. We were hanging out like right next to like the Final Fantasy 14 free trial, which is like
weird,
insane to me.
And then this is also the time where, again, we strategically did this during the winter sale, and the hopes that like because of some charts or something that there'd be some featuring available, or not featuring, but just some algorithmic something going on. And it was around this time, I believe, where we were basically on like the top of the trending free section, which wasn't a big section at all. It's actually like you have to hit a tab, like you got to scroll down through all the stuff and then hit a tab. But we did actually have that kind of surfacing, at least on the homepage of Steam. So if you hit trending free,
there's not too many demos in there. It's mostly meant for like free games, right? And so it was pretty cool. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's Dangerously Funny video, and then they did release another video which didn't do as well as the first one. So we're like, yeah, that's what we expect, right? Like there'll be some kind of initial spike, and then things will fizzle out. But then more stuff just started happening from that point, where the streamer Lyric streamed it the next day to like 16,000 concurrent viewers, and our concurrent players just kind of kept bumping up. We got videos from IamCade and C-Top, and then Moist Critical, who's a super well-known streamer and YouTuber.
I think I'm pretty sure he won some like streamer awards or something like just recently. He's just a really good streamer a lot of people know about. So we saw that video pop up, and I was like, no fucking way. Because I've been watching the Twitch charts on like SteamDB, and it hadn't shown up there. Right?
Yeah.
But the way we saw it was actually through the YouTube video that came through, where he had photoshopped himself into the box art by removing the gorilla. Putting his face on there, so there's just dudes attacking him. Hilarious thumbnail.
And importantly, he kicked off his first video about how many dudes by saying like, I don't really know much about this game except it's like about a bunch of dudes fighting gorillas or something. He's like, anyway, a buddy of mine told me about it and he said it was great, and I was like,
yeah, it's either Lyric or this other streamer. the very first streamer who covered it before Lyric even was I think Keys Speed or whatever. What was his name?
Yeah.
It's a bunch of letters and stuff, so I can't remember exactly what it is. But yeah,
I think he goes by Speedy or something.
Yeah, Speedy. So Speedy covered it, and there was and he had like more than 1,000 concurrent viewers. And we were like, oh my god. Lyric covers it, 11,000. We're like, oh my god. For 16,000 across everything, we're like, oh my gosh. And then this Moist Critical one goes, and the YouTube video I think by now has over 250,000 views too. And now he's just a dude. Moist Critical is one of the dudes now, and he's just all in. So we got like 3 more videos from him in the last couple of days, which apparently is like the people in his community know that that's some kind of sign of something in terms of the game's being good, because
his community kind of thinks of him as like a tastemaker, right? Like they whatever he's into, they're like, I should probably check that out.
Right. So he plays it a couple times. People are like, oh shit, it's like actually good. It turns out to be true.
Yeah. So he's having a great time with it. It's also funny looking at the comments of his videos because, again, like I was saying, it's
a little armchair.
Yeah, it's like either people who have played the demo and they have like a lot of really strong opinions about like what works and how the synergies work and what you should pick in which scenarios, you know. And then there's people who haven't played it, but they're like, oh, this looks super fun. But even those people will have opinions, right?
Yep.
So the comments are just full of people arguing about strategies and choices and stuff, which is hilarious. And kind of, it's exactly what we hoped for, right? Because we kind of said early on that we feel like this game is set up really well to be super engaging to watch and to play in ways like our other games haven't really hit the mark. And so, yeah, it's been cool to see that kind of bear out. So then after all this stuff kind of all happened back to back to back to back, then our concurrent player numbers just kind of kept shooting up. So our peak as of now is 2608,
which was yesterday.
Which was yesterday.
So yeah, it keeps on peaking every day, slightly higher, which is still confusing. And
there is also there's also a weekend effect, right, where it's like concurrent player counts kind of trend upward and then kind of peak on Sunday, and then there's like a Monday,
Tuesdays,
you know?
like the fucking worst. But
but I think overall, then we're seeing everything kind of bear out in exactly the way that we hoped, which was like we just needed like an initial critical mass of people to play the game and be like, wow, this is good. And then start spreading the word about it, making videos about it. More people see those, they check it out.
Those videos perform abnormally well in their channels so that they want to make more videos.
And, So we're getting like a genuine kind of like a viral movement on this thing, still with the kind of caveat that, like, again, most people ignore demos, right? And so, and I'm one of them. I don't really play demos. I think the last demo I played was that queue up coin flipping demo, and mostly just because like we were talking about it, and I was like,
you just gotta figure out.
I gotta at least like see what's going on in this game.
Yeah, the only time I played demos is basically for like game design research.
For work.
It's the only reason.
And a big reason is like demos often they cut you off, right? And you don't want to like start playing a game and invest that and upfront time in learning the game, and then an hour later it's like it's done, right? Which is a big reason why we uncapped our demo in terms of playtime or whatever, and we capped the content, which we'll kind of talk about a little bit later. So ultimately then we ended up as kind of like bouncing back and forth between like the number 2 and the number 3 most played demo on Steam for the past week now. It's that Half Sword game, the Half Sword demo. Awesome. That's the one that's just absolutely dominating, and they're at like 8,000 concurrent players in a given time.
That's a step up. Yep.
I have no expectations that we will come close to them, but you know. Being next to them is an honor.
It's also just been really interesting because I've never like looked at demo charts before, right? We've spent a lot of time in the past on SteamDB looking at other games charts at their launch to try to figure out like what does a good launch look like? How does like when Crashlands 2 was launching, like how does this compare to the games that we're competing with, all that kind of stuff. I never really looked at demos, and so seeing who we're competing with was really interesting because also Schedule 1 was ahead of us. So we eventually, I think, got over for current concurrent, right? But if you look at their past chart for their demo, their peak concurrent was like 30,000.
Yeah.
Right? And presumably, and now it's like Schedule 1 is deep in the tail and the full game is out, or at least in early access, right? But the game is available and the demo of the game is still like, we're still cruising and we're struggling to meet it, right? And so you still get to see all of the differences in scale effects, because we're looking at we're looking at our ranking for like wish lists and stuff because SteamDB makes guesses about that because they don't know how many wish lists games actually have, but they make
they know the relative ranking because there is a chart on Steam that sorts by top wish lists, right?
Right, yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, so so they do the actual like ranking, and we're ranked. What was it, like 250 or something like that?
That's for like wishlist activity, which is like
for activity.
That's the one that's a guess, where it's basically based on like additional follower velocity that you're getting. They try to guess like how much activity. Yeah, so we went
that's interesting, right? Because that means that because that demo is performing better than like most games and nearly all demos, right? And is ranked 225 or whatever in terms of wishlist activity. So that means there are 224 more slots that we could be reaching into if we're lucky, right?
We're just barely scratching the surface here.
Because what we've always said, we've always seen in all the data is that all of this stuff follows an insane power curve, where like the difference between 1 and 2 might be as much as a half. and 2 and 3 might be as much as a half. Like we don't know what those look like, right? But we know the differences are huge, and it does kind of taper out. So when you're in that like bottom or like 100 to 200, that's probably pretty flat. As it's probably pretty easy to move up and down.
Yeah.
In that group, right?
I mean, even just like in terms of total wish list, I think we moved up the rankings from being like, I think beyond like number 2,000 or something in like top wish list to being in like the 800s now.
Yeah.
Over just 2 weeks, right? And it's because, like you said, it's way compressed for as you go lower than a chart, it's just easier to climb up it. And so I think what's interesting is our peak like wish lists that we've gotten is around like 7,000 in some of these days, right? I think like yesterday, basically.
In a day. Yeah.
Yeah, day before like 6,000, and we're getting these like those are big numbers so far as we're concerned. Those are great. You know, what we saw with Crashlands 2, those are for all the benchmarks that we understand from what we've experienced. Those are very, very.
And we're
good.
still around like the top 200 mark for wishlist activity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like,
what's
wow,
going
okay.
on with these other games? They getting like 50,000 a day consistently or something. That's crazy. Yeah. So I mean. Oh yeah, and one kind of interesting note. This is kind of just the most bizarre coincidence, but Crashlands 2 and How Many Dudes? Crashlands 2 and How Many Dudes both took exactly 146 days to reach 50,000 wish lists from the time
the store page going live.
From the time the store page went live until 50,000 wish lists. The difference though was like Crashlands 2 hit like 30,000 wish lists in the first like month.
Yep. It had a big spike,
and
then we had a good baseline.
I think we got 16,000 the first month, and then we did the daily deal thing with Crashlands 1 the next month.
Yeah, added a whole bunch more.
And Splattercat or something like that. And so we got basically most of them those first 2 months, and then it was just slowly.
And then it was like
100
100 a day. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. How Many Dudes? It basically sat at like 20 a day or less, usually a lot less, and unless we specifically put out YouTube shorts, right?
Yeah,
so
we got it up fairly consistently with the YouTube shorts, like around 100, a little above, I think.
Yeah. So it's kind of the difference between like with Crashlands 2 is like a game that had like a built-in audience that people were expecting. So we kind of had that big initial surge, but then just because of the type of game that it is, the theme of the game and stuff, beyond that audience, it was very difficult to find more audience, right? But with How Many Dudes, it's kind of the opposite, which is like nobody knows about it up front, but as people learn about it, they want more of it, and they spread the word about it, and it's easier to get exposure. So we're kind of seeing like opposite charts. Like Crashlands chart was like big spike at the beginning and then kind of flatten out, and How Many Dudes is like flat, flat, flat. It's a hockey stick in the other direction, right? Like it's shooting upwards at the very end. Yeah. So we went from 7,000 wish lists 2.5 weeks ago to 50,000 wish lists as of now. But both games took the exact same amount of time.
Yeah,
to hit 50.
I don't know think about that. It's very odd. Yeah, I think it's
what
part
does
of the
it
thing.
mean?
You were talking about, I think a few episodes back, how when we're hearing these other dev stories from devs who have had success trying to do the kind of thing that we're currently trying to do, which is like to make a game that has more of, it fits the market better for where the market's at, fits like streamers better, whatever else. All those stories, they have some moments in them, typically actually earlier than How Many Dudes, where they're getting a kind of traction we hadn't seen yet. I think just maybe the last episode I was talking about one or two of them where they're like, yeah, we put out TikToks for like 30 days. And we had 9,000 wish lists, right? And it's like we still just weren't even there at the start before the demo, like 7,000 wish lists, right? And so we've been seeing the signs that it could be possible, but it's still always a question mark as you know whether or not it's going to happen. And so, I mean, I'm just like, I've been floored by it. Like I said, I was already over the moon around the 400 current player mark, and like having, I think we crossed. I guess what day did we cross 20,000 wish list? Because that was our initial goal. Yeah, and then like 2 days later it was 30,000, and then the next day it was 40,000.
Because it still felt like we had just made it to the end of the year. Was like,
and then we doubled it, and then
they
another
just kept
50.
going.
Yeah.
It's so I don't know. It's just like kind of over the moon about it. Honestly, I think it's worked out really, really good.
Yeah.
It worked out way better than I. Because I wasn't pessimistic, but I was not optimistic because it's hard to sell games. That's what this podcast is about. It's so hard to sell games, and I knew that when people played How Many Dudes, they loved it. They were really into it. They wanted to talk about it, and they wanted to share it. So I knew it had what it needed, but I was like, the whole time I was still like, can we get enough people to be aware it exists though? Because if you can't, it doesn't matter. And so I was not I was still thinking that Next Fest was like that was the thing that's going to make or break. We can get enough visibility on this thing for it to work, and so the fact that we already have enough visibility on it to be hitting the numbers
crazy.
where, like, because if you're going into a launch of a game with 50,000 wish lists is like, to me, that's the threshold where it's like, cool, this game is worth launching. It will probably do well, right? And we're there.
Yep,
we did.
Yeah, I was very optimistic that we would hit the 20K. For some reason, I was just like, I feel like this demo is just gonna pull. It's just gonna pull in players. But 20K was like that. It was still like
That
my
was your
high
optimistic
water
one.
mark.
Yeah.
I was like, I really think this thing is gonna get some traction. And we only need, we're at 7,500. It's like, no, we need 12,500 wish lists. Like, that's a lot, but also like, there's a lot of people on Steam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's
and
free
everything we've done so
demo
far was just from putting videos out about the game, right? Which is
yeah,
way less of a driver, given that we know how fun the game is to play, right? That it's way less of a driver than a demo would be.
yeah. And like I mentioned, I think in a previous episode, kind of like a part of the impetus for getting the demo out was like the weekend before we made that decision, like I had played for 20 hours, just like over the weekend for fun. And our QA team,
yeah, because to me, that was the QA team
was playing for fun. Their whole job is playing the game. Like I don't even
every day.
Yeah, and like I don't play the game all day, like they do, right?
Yeah.
And they're playing. When I say play, like they're looking for bugs and they're replicating stuff. But they're spending a lot more time just like tinkering with the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a player would. And the fact that even after doing that all week, over the weekend, they're like, I want to play some games. What should I play? And then they just booted up how many dudes. And it was like, okay. Yeah. Okay. It's ready. We got to, fuck it. We ball. We got to get this.
Let's go.
We got to get this thing out there.
Yep.
So yeah, I had pretty high confidence, but yeah, it is kind of blown away my, my ceiling, right?
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't started going down yet either. So,
yeah, that's the confusing part. I'm still just waiting for it to.
Yeah. And if it goes down by 90%, that's still fine. Cause
still great.
I'm still,
we still have the next.
still very happy
have the launch, right?
Yeah, I'm happy with what it did. So I do want to talk just briefly about content in this demo. So we kind of mentioned that we had looked at the Balatro timeline and seen what they had done with their demo, and how they had initially had a demo that was kind of locked down, where you could only play 50 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And in that first month that demo was out, they got like 2,000 wish lists, and they got like a little bit of traction because people kind of saw the potential of the game, but nobody could really play the game because you get cut off, right? And so it was only when they flipped it over to saying like, okay, now you can just play it as much as you want, and we're just going to chop out a bunch of the jokers and a bunch of other stuff. So that way, like, there's still a lot of things, but
It's essentially, it's like playing the game where there's a paid unlock at the end that's just not present yet. Right?
Yeah. That's kind of how in the last episode we kind of talked about our framing of the demo is like, let's think about it as a free to play game with a one-time DLC purchase, which is the full game, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how do we give people a full game experience? And so we have 17 types of dudes in the demo. And then there's no cap on, how high you can go. You just go as high as you can until you run out of dude. We don't actually have the end game really like built. We just kind of throw more polar bears and shit at you until you die, basically.
It'll eventually be like a hardcore boss run with custom bosses and stuff, but we have custom matchups currently, which are, particular matches of weird things. But that's part of it.
Yeah. And so what's kind of interesting about a game like this is that because it's a game about exploring combinations and synergies.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all about like, which dudes do you mix with which other dudes? And so right now with 17 types of dudes, you're making a team of 5. So with that, you can kind of think about it like if you have a deck of cards with 17 cards in it and you're going to draw 5, right?
Exactly.
How many different hands can you make with that number of cards? You can make 6,000, basically 6,200 different hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a big range of viability, right? Like if you make a team that has no like tanks and no healers, then it's pretty tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's
some people have done it though already.
Yeah. So there are certain things that people will bias toward, but there is like this pretty vast play space of several thousand different combinations of teams that you can put together. And that's also kind of ignoring the question about order, right? So like if you pick a tank as your first dude type, that's going to be a very different experience than if you get the tank last,
Yeah.
right? And so there is that. But then as we add more dudes, the combination space just explodes. So internally, we've kind of said that our target for launch is about 36 dude types. We're not married to that number. Might be more, might be less. I don't know,
So
but that's kind of
twice as many as are in the demo.
Basically twice as many. So if we get 36 dude types into the game for launch, then that takes us from the current 6,000 combinations up to 376,000 combinations of different like ways you can mix the dudes together. So in other words, if that's our benchmark, then the demo has about 1.6% of the play space as the full game.
Yeah, it has half as many dudes and 1% as many combinations.
Right, because that's just how combinations work. And then if we go further, so let's just say hypothetically, again, not promising anything, this is just like a cool number experiment. If we had as many dudes as there are in a deck of cards, 52 dudes, then there would be 2.6 billion possible team combinations that you could make, right?
Yeah.
So the demo feeling really big and having 17 dude types, but essentially being 0% of the possible space at that point, makes us like, because we have gotten people who are expressing concern where they're like, I love this game and I want to see it succeed, but I'm worried that you guys gave away too much. It's like, well, the problem with these combination things is like, let's say we took like 2 dudes away from the demo, or maybe it was like only the warriors or something like that, right? Then at that point, there's like
it works in
a
both directions,
third,
right?
there's a third as many possible things, and then you'll really feel like you just saw everything in one go, and then you're done, right?
I do think it's also the case, and we talked a lot about this with the design of the game up front, which is that the shape of it is such that it's not the sort of game I think that if someone plays a lot of it, that they're like, I don't want to play any more of it. You know what I mean?
Well, and it would have to be for this logic to work, right? Because you can think because something we've also talked about in the past with procedural generation, which has the same logic, right? Which is, hey, procedural generation is just if you get enough ways of putting things together, then you have effectively infinite content, right? But that's also really dangerous because of the risk of sameness of the content, because every variant has to feel different in a way that matters, right? And if it doesn't, then it doesn't matter that you have a billion different versions of an experience, right? Each experience has to feel different. And I think this relationship to a deck of cards is really interesting, right? Because people play poker as a hobby. Poker doesn't change. It's ever, literally ever. People will play it for decades of their lives, every weekend,
because of the combinatorial possibilities.
And every single time the experience is the same, as in like you get your
the rules are the same, right?
The rules are the same. They're really simple, right? And the decks aren't doing anything interesting. It's just
a pile of cards.
Just a pile of cards, right? But that experience stays interesting and fresh the whole time because of the overall design of how the game works and what you're doing with it, and like the sense of risk and the sense of adventure. Like there's all this stuff that goes into it that even something as simple as a deck of cards can create an infinitely set of basically the same experience, but that stays interesting.
Or even chess. People talk about like the number of possible chess moves is like greater than the number of atoms in the universe, where it's like every game of chess is just a little bit different and you're going to be surprised every single time, So
you have to, somehow it has to be, because otherwise it wouldn't be true. Because like otherwise you would say like, yeah, we have got 2 billion, different combinations of dudes. But if it didn't feel like,
it might not matter.
If it didn't matter, then that's not more, that's not,
well, that's really, and that's where like by kind of putting our mark on like 36, it's like, okay, we think that at 36 dudes, we can have each different dude that we add to the game be unique, right? As the number goes up, it gets harder and harder to come up with something that a dude can do that no other dude does, right? So like we have the Spartans where they block attacks aimed at nearby dudes, right? If we add another dude type that also blocks attacks for other dudes, but then like has maybe like some different relics or, does something a little bit different, then it'll start to feel like, well, it doesn't really matter whether I have a Spartan or this guy, as long as I just pick one of them, right? Then at that point, the play space kind of collapses again, right? Where it's like, just because on paper you've got these combinations of dudes possible, who cares, right?
Yep.
So we do need to kind of, so that's why it's like, we're not going to promise, oh, we're going to have 50 dudes or 80 dudes or 30, or like we're going to keep going with it until we feel like we maybe like can't quite hit something unique.
Well, because there are also
maybe,
cons, right? Too, because because imagine playing cards, but instead of 52 cards in the deck, there were 1,000 cards in the deck, right?
Yeah.
1,000 different cards, right?
yeah. So then
Then,
like, it's just too much. There's just too many.
Yeah, like the game can't. None of the games that are meant for cards could work. You'd have to design completely different kinds of games because you can't generate the same kinds of experiences.
Yeah.
And so it's the same deal with a game like How Many Dudes. Is there's going to be some kind of a sweet spot given the rest of the design of how the game works.
Yeah.
Where if we go beyond that for number of dudes, it's going to start to be a real problem because now we have to redesign everything else in the game.
Yeah, because then we'll need to add in some metagame stuff, like of ways for you to kind of narrow things down again in certain ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can still bias things or whatever, which, a lot of roguelikes use things like a banding system where as they add more stuff to the pool, they also give you the option to remove things from the pool. So there's
or
ways
they
to
have just
do
different
it,
kinds of runs, as in you'd have like your
Yeah.
undead run where it's like only undead kinds of dudes versus things that are kind of undeadish or whatever, right?
Mm.
You have to start to segregate out your content so that people can opt into coherent, well-designed experiences.
Or you do something like a seasonal model, which is what you see in stuff like Teamfight Tactics or whatever else, where you basically have roughly the same number of these categories present, these dude types or whatever, but you just rotate. So, because of how it works, it's like if you took out the undead dudes from the current demo and you swapped in a different set of dudes, an entirely different set of dudes with like different parameters and stuff, the game just feels completely different now, right? Even if you go put the same matchups in with the
like,
other.
it's sci-fi week. It's like undead are out and cyborgs are in. That way you kind of keep the play space collapse. Yeah, so there's a lot of possible things we could do. We're not committing to anything. We're just moving. Like we're just adding stuff to the game. You're going by
figure it out as we go.
Yeah, I had a hilarious exchange in the Discord where somebody was like, I can't imagine like the math that must go behind trying to balance this game. It's like, math?
It's all vibes,
You can't
baby.
balance it with math.
Yeah, this shit is like, play the game, be like, was that fun? Which part of that sucked? Oh, this part sucked? All right, let's beef that one up.
Well, I mean, they were correct in that they can't imagine the math, and neither can we.
Neither
It's
can
not
we. I don't know how,
imaginable.
I don't know what the
Can't
hell
be
that
done.
would look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I do want to talk about the demo more, but there's one thing we still have to talk about before we finish up the episode, which is, it is 2026.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year. We have to name the year, and we always come up with a name for the year, which kind of sets the tone. What's this year going to be like? Sometimes it's predictive. Sometimes it's aspirational, something to strive for. Sometimes it's just dumb, because you got to switch it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw out some ideas for our listeners of some possible names for this year that we've thought of, and we're going to open it up. If you have other ideas or particular ones that we've listed that you think are really good, then drop comments on the YouTube channel or just go to podcast.bscotch.net and offer up your
drop them
suggestions
on
there.
for YouTube. Drop them on this episode so we see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the next episode, we will make our choice, and then we will also talk about some of our predictions of some of the things we think will happen this upcoming year in the games industry.
Yeah, with our studio and with the broader industry.
Yeah.
As is tradition.
All right, you guys ready?
Ready, steady.
All right, 2026. Here are some possible names for this upcoming year. All right, 2020 bag of tricks. Get up to something. That's just kind of, you got a lot of devious things that you could be doing. Like
a lot of plots, a lot of scheming.
Add some mischief into your bag of tricks and get up to something.
And it's also aspirational because you could add some tricks into that bag. That's
Yeah,
a big
true.
bag of tricks.
Personal growth, We've also got 2020 pickup sticks. There was a windstorm pretty recently.
And
And
then
we noticed there's a lot of debris in people's yards, so they haven't really bothered. And, we don't want to contact the HOA, but we will.
Yeah, we will.
'Cause, like,
it's been months.
Frankly, I can just feel my property value going down by the day. Okay.
That's for all the HOA lovers. you
Yeah.
know.
2020 pickup stakes. We've also got 2026-7. Just because people say that. Nobody really knows why, but people say that, and that's a thing that we just put up there as an option.
If you could think of if you could help us out with a tagline for that one, that would be helpful too, because we couldn't figure out.
So connect with the youth.
Connect with the youth.
No, that's the tagline. It's 2026-7. For some people, for some reason, people are saying that. That's the tagline.
There you go.
There you go.
We've also got 2020-17-76. Let's just start over. Let's make a new constitution. That's another option. Things are going medium. They could be going better.
Time. Yep.
Maybe.
We're due.
We'll just turn it off and turn it back on again. Just unplug that
Has anybody
shit.
tried that?
Yep.
Yeah. We've also got 2020 quick. There's no time to explain. That's just
You just gotta go. Okay, just go.
move. Fuck it. We ball. Basically.
Yep. Fucking we ball. Quit thinking so much. Let's go.
Actually, that might be. That's a pretty good contender.
2020 quick.
Fuck it. We ball.
Stop thinking about things. Just go.
Just go.
Move. There's no time. Okay. We also got 2020 fiddlesticks. 2020 fiddlesticks. It's just kind of get loose with your profanity and your
Bring that old timey weird shit back.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Yep.
2020 fiddles. Oh, jeepers.
Jeepers. Oh, golly gee.
Oh,
Golly
willikers. Gee whiz. We also got 2020 kicks. Either shoes or the action. Just kind of an athletic thing, or just get your kicks. Just go, just have fun. Do your thing.
Yeah.
That one's maybe a little too versatile, but
Yeah.
sometimes that's
we can try to narrow it down.
Remember, because you got the monkey paw problem with this stuff, right? Which is like sometimes you pick one. If you got
and then the apocalypse comes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Alternate interpretations, and that's that's
2020 kick. It's like you just get kicked a lot this year. I don't want that.
Yep.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah,
which
again,
That's
I
our
have to.
past.
So I mentioned this to you guys before the podcast, but I do want to say this to our listeners because it's so fucking stupid. There was a kickboxing place near my house called Kick House. That's the name of this kickboxing place. Kick House. It doesn't exist anymore. It went out of business. And as often happens when a place goes out of business, a new business arises like a hermit crab and inherits the shell, right? It gets in there and takes over the space. So the hermit crab in this case was a dog training company.
Oh no.
That they went in, they took the building, and for some reason they have left the signs up. So it's a dog training it's a dog training place that says it's called Kick House on the outside of the building.
If you go drop your dog off there, you'd be like,
Is this should I could you tell me more about your training technique? I feel like this was a mistake.
bad idea.
Yeah, and of course, if you look up whatever the name of the dog training place is, like it doesn't show up as Kick House on Google. So it's like you'll look it up and you'll be like, great. And then you'll take your dog there and you pull up to a place called Kick House and you're like,
Wow.
this is
I
very
got
suspicious.
Yep.
So anyways, maybe take that sign down. If you happen to be the owner of this building and you're listening to our podcast,
Yeah,
maybe
2020 kick. Maybe take that sign down.
2020 kicks. How about let's take that sign down?
Be more specific.
Be more
accurate.
specific.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. We've also got 2020 clicks. Just get those clicks, just rage bait, get some attention on the internet, whatever.
Harvest that engagement.
Harvest engagement, just piss everyone off. Keep repost a cat video that's been reposted so many times that it's got 8 pixels. Whatever gets those clicks, that's what this
I think that's the world we live in. So I feel like we can just go.
we don't.
That's
So we don't really
accurate
need. We don't
that
need
one.
that to be the theme of this year because
Just
we're
happening.
already doing that. But speaking of clicks, we also got 2020 feet pics. That's if you really.
The economy's hard. No shame. Whatever.
bag,
You do what you got to do. Get that bag. Who cares?
Yeah. Unleash those dogs.
Yep.
Just get it.
Unleash the dogs of
Get it.
war.
Make that money. We also got 2020 flicks. It's just, watch some movies. Just hang out, have a movie night.
Yeah. Or maybe you annoy a sibling.
Just flick them.
Just flick 'em.
In the ear, the nose, back of the head.
Or
Lots
get real
of great
close.
options.
You can real close and just say, like, I'm not
doing
doing it. I'm not.
it. I'm not flicking you.
But don't flick anybody in the eyes.
Yeah.
Well, but if they're not wearing glasses, I feel like they're asking for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta wear your safety goggles at all
Yeah.
times.
Yep.
Another option, 2020 John Wick. I'm thinking I'm back. That's
Dig up your case of whatever you got under cement in your basement.
Yeah,
Just dig it up.
2026 is like you
Strap
may
it
have
in.
been hit by 6 cars. You may have chopped off your own finger. You
Mm-hmm.
may have been shot 36 times. You may have fallen off a building, then hit a different building, then bounced off of that, hit a dumpster, and broken your back, and then
Yep.
got hit by 2 more cars.
But you know what you could still do is
But
just throw a gun at a guy.
But you know, who gives a shit? Yeah, just
You're still back.
you're still back somehow. Somehow you're not dead.
Mhm.
And that's just what this year's all
Actually,
about.
2020 John Wick. Somehow you're not dead.
Somehow
So
you're
honestly,
not dead. And
feels accurate.
Let's
We're
just
just-
keep going. With
Yep,
this, you
keep
know?
going. Yep. If your gun's out of ammo, throw it.
Just throw it.
That's
You
the
know?
lesson I learned from John Wick.
Yeah. He doesn't give a shit. And I guess neither
Mhm.
should you. That's what 2026 is about.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got 2 more options. We got 2020 fix. Just fix all your shit and everything
Mhm.
else. Just, there's a lot of
everything
shit that needs
Just
some
broken
fixing.
shit all over the place.
Uh,
Yeah. The thing is, it's not particularly aspirational. It's just sort of like, I don't know, getting your house
It's
in
also
order,
too
you know?
general. Because if everything is broken and you have to fix everything,
Yeah.
then that's just.
yeah, but
That's
you know,
too ridiculous.
what if we did though? That'd be good.
What if we did?
Like,
Not wrong.
everything's broken, probably because we haven't been
Because
fixing
of that
it.
attitude,
you know?
Adam.
Yeah.
You know? So we got,
Yeah,
we got
it's-
energy. Come on.
We got the broken window effect going
Yeah,
on
instead
here.
of
like-
asking what should we fix, just fix everything.
Just fix every. How about quit letting everything lay around broken all the fucking time?
Not a bad idea.
Metaphorically and physically.
Yep.
You know, just fix your shit. Last one, 2020 bricks. Build a strong foundation, you know? And if that doesn't work, well, you got bricks to throw.
Yep.
And stuff.
Very, very useful projectile weapon in
Yeah.
revolutionary times, you know.
Yeah. So it's you know, you got a fallback. You try to build something up, build something stable. If that doesn't work, you got options.
Yeah, you got projectiles now.
You got something.
I guess it could also be, you know, the year of the dude, if you want to go with like the Zodiac vibe.
I mean,
you
we
know?
all know that 2026 is the year of the dude. So
This is
that
for us.
kind of goes without saying.
Yeah.
You know. Or, you know, maybe after how many dudes launches, we're going to launch another game this
That's
year.
true.
We did say that we were like, our goal is like launch a game every 6 months. That's really fucking hard to do. And we definitely are not even going to hit that. But
2020 quick.
2020 quick. We're getting
2020
pretty close,
quick.
though.
Fuck
Get
it.
that
we
other
ball.
game out.
Yeah.
Get that second game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, you know, maybe we'll get how many dudes out. And then, you know, this upcoming December 2026, we'll have a new demo for our next game.
That'll just be our theme.
That's just
you
our
know?
new thing. So there's always a Butterscotch demo that comes out over winter break. That's just
Mhm.
Yep.
that's the
That's
thing.
our lives now. Yeah.
Yeah. So for our listeners, think through all these options. Tell us which ones you like. Offer up
If you got
some
new
of your own.
taglines, if you got new ideas for themes, you know, we'll just throw it all in there.
Yeah. We will in the next episode. We will decide. We will decide what the year's going to be, and then we'll talk about what we think's going to happen in 2026. And that's all the time we have for this week's episode. We'd like to thank our producers, Fat Bard and Sampa DeCoster, for putting the podcast together. And thanks to our community moderators who keep our Discord running, especially in these trying times, as a lot of dudes are pouring into the Discord.
Yep.
To get more involved in the Butterscotch community, just go to podcast.bscotch.net, where we have links to the community Discord, a way for you to donate to support the podcast, and links to the archives. And if you haven't yet, go get the How Many Dudes demo. Play that thing,
Pretty
have a
good.
good time, and let us know how it goes for you. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.